Day.
The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. Doesn't matter whether you're in Annapolis, Indianapolis, or Minneapolis. You know what we like to do at this time?
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have today? Well, a little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll. Let's go to the sit rep here. We had a big squeeze today. We've had some big squeezes in stocks. One of the reasons why I've been talking about them for the last few weeks is generally you get in the very last innings of a bull market. You see the kind of shenanigans and hootenannies. I'm going to have to look for more words like that. When the markets get close to the top, you get this kind of stuff. It was an everyday occasion brought to you by, you would call them gangs, but it's not something new. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But you have, let's just call them the biker gangs of the stock market. Running around causing big squeezes. Some people are blaming it on the folks on web boards, blogs, that kind of stuff. To a certain extent, that happened. There's nothing new in Wall Street, and one of the reasons why I bring up Jesse Livermore almost every single day. More on that here in a minute. Bond. Actually, when the market started to move, or because of when the market started to move, we had a huge push in the TLT, up $1.73 today at 153.61. 154 is going to be extremely hard resistance, so we're pretty close to the high on that. I still suspect we're going to move our way back down to 148-ish. When we look at the other markets, that would tell us whether or not we've got a long shadow looking across the market. Crude oil basically flat, 52.24. Gold up $1.20, so basically a rounding error. Silver down 12 cents. Don't have a lot out here. Now, what happened today? Well, a handful of things. But it's not like it hasn't happened before. That is that we've had some fairly poor advanced decline lines. Markets were fairly weak. We didn't have a lot of short positions in the entire market. We had a few positions massively shorted in just a handful of stocks. And of course, they've been going after anybody that's got high short interest in any of these stocks. Bed, Bath, and Beyond and below and around the corner. Was one of those today, BBBY. We also had GameStop, a company that's virtually bankrupt. So people started getting short that. And of course, I didn't even see the top tick today. It was going so far. So why don't we check in on that? But whether you're talking about late 1999 or 1920s, there is no effective difference in the way that at the time, they call these things pools operate. Later on, we had our first big attempt at that digitally in 1999 with a few folks. There was a guy that was really the first master after 1920s and 30s. His name was Tokyo Joe. Oddly enough, not Japanese, South Korean, I'm pretty sure. But it's been about 20 years. Narrowly avoided jail, went to jail for a little while. Hard to remember exactly. But he would run boards, and he'd do the same thing. He'd look for very dull stocks with high short positions, probably going out of business, and they'd run the stocks. There were chat rooms at the time that were run by, as I remember, it was Rev Shark as a guy. I think he's still around somewhere. There were a handful of others. Some of them went to jail. Some of them just got big fines. This stuff all started a long time ago. And one of the things I thought about last night was that there's only 7 stories. When you come to write a story or go to Hollywood, you'll find out that it's one of all these. And sometimes they'll put sections or parts in that. Overcoming the Monster, Rags to Riches, The Quest, Voyage and Return, Rebirth, Comedy, and Tragedies. And they all have a typical or atypical way of doing stuff. It's not that much different in the stock market. Everything that has happened today has happened before. There's nothing new. And again, why I talk so much about Jesse Livermore's book. But the idea about pools is nothing new. If you read Jesse Livermore's book, he was maybe the guy that they talked about being the Tokyo Joe of his time and running pools and short squeezes and actually shorting stocks and running them out the other way. But this wasn't a one-sided fight. People would get together and go to war on Wall Street and take virtually bankrupt stocks and run them to the moon, take really good stocks and run them out of business. It was nothing new. One of the big things that happened was that these pools were eventually deemed to be a drag on the markets, and they outlawed them, although there was still some left to it. Probably the biggest newsletter writer of the time was Richard D. Wyckoff. And at the back of his book, he writes about how they used to come after him. He had a newsletter that he would mail to people. So, some people started getting it one day after if they lived close, and some people got it 5 days later. This, of course, really before airmail. So there wasn't a whole lot. If you lived out in California, you might get it 7 days later or 5 days later. And they would go after his customers. He'd go long something and they'd crush him. He would then start sending out to different parts of the country, depending on where they are. Probably, did they have a zip code back then? Anyway, he would write different letters that he would mail out, depending on where they were in the country and when they would probably most likely get the newsletter. So he couldn't actually tell everybody to go long or short something because, that would be it. But he planned his own little bear traps out there for these guys that would run his stocks. He'd tell everybody to buy it and then make sure that the next day they got a letter saying to sell it. So a lot of people get long or short of the other side. There's no end to the long and storied legends of bull versus bear on Wall Street. Eventually, we'll find some of these people who probably face the SEC, maybe the FBI, maybe some other stuff. It always ends up the same. We'll be back in a minute. We got questions answered. We got history to do. We got charts to look at. Whoa.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Albertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And as always,
then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Well, it doesn't exactly repeat, but it does rhyme extremely closely. On this day in 1905, at the Premier Mine in Pretoria, South Africa, a 3,106-carat diamond is discovered during a routine inspection by the mine superintendent, weighing 1.33 pounds, christened the Cullinan. It was the largest diamond ever found and still is to this day. The Cullinan was later cut into 9 large stones and about 100 smaller ones, valued at millions of dollars all told in 1906 bucks or 1907. The largest stone is called the Star of Africa #1, or the Cullinan. I think it's how you pronounce it, #1, and it sits at 530 carats. It's the largest cut, fine quality, colorless diamond in the world. And right out of a bad pulp fiction novel, they were so worried about it being stolen that they hired a ship, filled it full of detectives, which were kind of a nice way in 1905 of saying, kind of the broken nose, leg breaker kind of folks. Hey, what would you call it? Yeah, I would think it was the mobsters, and set it to sale. The real diamond went in a brown cardboard shoebox and went home with almost no fanfare a week later back to London, where they spent about a year studying it before they cut it. When the guy actually tried to cut it, most of his tools would just shatter. Made out of steel. Eventually he got it a tool to cut it, hit it once, and it broke perfectly, as he thought. But after spending a year and a half, almost 2 years, trying to cut it correctly, the guy instantly passed out. Just a little bit too much worry on the off chance that he destroyed the stone, but he didn't. And apparently, if you can ever get a big stone to cut, you become kind of a big thing in the diamond business. Little stones, not that much to lose. On this day in 1905, the biggest diamond ever found, and led to that Ryman Simons song. What was that? Diamonds on the soles of their shoes. Okay, what else do we have going on out here? I think that's most of what I wanted to talk about. We've got questions already. Short interest in GME is over 100%, and that's about 3 days to cover. Well, it was 10 days to cover. It was nowhere close to that before. Do you think the stock price goes higher than the time is for now? Generally, after you have a peak like you have today, you'll see a long-term sell program go in on the stock. You want to talk about someone stuck in the stock thinking that it was going to turn their way. Man, are they lucky today. Probably 1 out of 1,000 do this. So it's not something that you should bet on getting lucky. And that's all these folks did, is that everybody decided to fight over their particular stock. And there were a lot of people on the wrong side of the boat on this particular stock. But in fact, I had it here. I got it when I saw your to the email, but where is it? It's got to be right there. We go back to the short list that we talked about. What was it? A week ago, 10 days ago? I know we started talking about it right after I came back from vacation on the 4th, and we've done it twice. But all these stocks were in that list that I brought up at the time. But GME, where's that at? There it is. Okay, now this is on the first of the month. Had 8 days to cover at that time, 8.1 days. And people were shorting it when, what's this guy? Andrew left. I think that's who it was at Citron, which always makes me think about that horrible car that was made. The only good thing anybody ever said good about a Citron was de Gaulle, who they had a kind of a steel plate in the back seat of the Citrons, and it saved his life when he was tried to be assassinated, a la Day of the Jackal, if you remember that movie. I mean the original one, not the poor remakes. I think they've had 2 poor remakes. The first one with Edward Fox, what a gem. But anyway, pretty much very close to reality for Day of the Jackal. Anyway, for Citron, actually a company that doesn't do that, just they short stocks, they go long stocks, but they're more famous for their short calls. And of course, they decided to, apparently, if you believe the story, at Reddit, they decided to feed this guy, Andrew left, a bowl of buckwheats. And I know about buckwheats because I watched the Rockford Files and learned that it was a slow, painful beating. I think that came from the Hammer, who was Isaac Hayes played the character in the Rockford Files too. So a lot of mixed metaphors in today's edition. Anyway, a lot of shorts, but I went through almost all of these stocks over the last few weeks. Same thing, Best Buy had 8.8 days to cover, and why I put it in my newsletter. You can't actually, we've had DDD, had some of these other ones. You can't, you have to watch kind of close and catch them intraday to get a chance on them. Hard to trade in a newsletter, but I'll guarantee you one thing. If you learn nothing over the last few weeks, it will be not to short massively shorted stocks on the just off chance that this happens. And it does. But the thing is just to not be there when it happens, unless you're going to be long and go along for the ride. But back to this question. Think stock goes higher, or was it the high is in for now? Oh, yeah, the high is in for today. And it will not get there, I'd say 99.99999, and I feel like I'm turning German. 9 What was the high for today? Today's range 159.18. So does it sit up here? Generally, after a big pop like this, you will not let the short seller, the shorts out of it. And how did it get to 159? Well, was everybody was saying someone was buying up there. If you're short one of these stocks, your broker is at some point just going to take the cash instead of go bankrupt. He's not going to hope that this thing doesn't go to 250 or 500 or something else. So if you don't sell it, if you don't cover a short position, they will eventually do it. And I would imagine there's more than a few folks out here today that wiped out their trading accounts playing GameStop on the wrong side, tried to short it a little bit too early. On the same side, probably a lot of people tried to short it on the way down. They have paid too much. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're looking at GameStop out here. And, this is one of these things where, do you try to pick a high? It's pretty tough. So you don't really know. But, some of the highs, some of the lows, do you know if you got it or not? Hard to tell. What was that? BBBY. Also on the hit parade of the big squeezers out here today. see, 32.43. It was up a whole lot more. What do you have out here tonight? 47.25. I'm missing the candles today. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, that's just kind of the handful of stuff. See. Okay. I want to go back to this. Hang on a second. I was at IBRT. Should be iRobot. Is that right? IRBT. Yeah, it's a big move on that today. Yep, $17, 116.37. See if there's anything else out here. Okay. Should be okay. We'll try to figure that out. Okay. Anyway, nice move. Finally breakout. You probably want this thing to come back to 100 if you're going to buy it. I wouldn't be chasing it here. Again, another fairly highly shorted stock in the market. One of the things that kind of led to what we have going on today with a big flush earlier and then the pullback down to almost 3,800 on the market, and now we're up 5 points on the S&P cash, 6 points on the S&P cash. Nasdaq was up almost to 14,000, now 13,600, 602. So as I talked, I got a question about that in the email. What was I talking about? If you ever watched Hunt for the Red October, they go into why the Russian sub they're chasing every 30 minutes turns off their engines and turns left or right so that they can listen to see if there's anybody behind them. It's called clearing the baffles. They called it the Crazy Ivan in the movie. But clearing the baffles is something that you do. Now, was this all planned? Well, I suspect that it was at least at some level from some of the bigger guys, maybe Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs, went to flush the market. And the reason is we've got a lot of earnings this week. And they wanted to go take the easy pickings today on a handful of stocks that they wanted to shake people out of or wanted people to get short that they could squeeze also. And, of course, by pushing the market as they did and then dropping the hammer on those folks and the poor souls and some of the other short squeeze stocks, kind of gets the market in a place where it's very hard to make a decision. They don't want to make it very easy for people to get in or out. And, of course, if you went through today, you'd say, well, there's no way that the market's ever going to go down. And, of course, that's exactly what happens before the market takes a big dive one morning. And, 6 months later, you're still nowhere close to getting back to your positions. And, of course, as Tom likes to say and others, market's job is to take the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time from the most amount of people. PLTR, is that a short squeeze in it? Let's go ahead. Again, there isn't a lot of really good PLTR data on this because it hadn't been around very often. I'll show you my app that I keep track of. 15% short on Friday, 16%, 19% the day before. And is that kind of high? Yeah, for an IPO, Is it horrible? No. I mean, to get into the 20s, you had to go back to the 31st of December. You've had some really big days when they shorted it on the 28th, 27%. But then you go back and look at some of the other stocks like Tesla, and you see just how short they get. Now, this is daily short numbers. You don't have any idea how many of these were covered by the end of the day. But stocks that really react are generally in the 20 and 30% all the time in the market. So, you can go back to Tesla on the 11th of this month, and that was 38%, almost half. You'll get a big day like that, and that generally sets a low in the market. Whenever you see everybody diving in out of character, now the character in this one's kind of in the 20s. That's it. Now, if you look at the bi-monthly Tesla, people short it during the day, but they don't really hold it overnight. Only about 1.12 days to cover. So if we go to GME, you'll see that really when they were shorting this, you can see where the big guys were shorting this and the prelude to what's happened in the last few days. You had pretty, you had some people getting short kind of the end of the year, 30%, 32%. Not much happened. And then you got that big day when Andrew left it. Citron probably piled on the thing because that was 32-ish. And, now you just see the thing go through to the moon, doubled and tripled. But notice that big day is where the next day it just started going higher. And one of the things that a good operator on the market will do is if left is shorting a bunch of that, they'll short it too, right? And then what they'll do is cover it. And, you closed at like $38 the day before, and you got down to 33. So they'll, they may have shorted a lot on the move higher that day. Then they'll, instead of slowly covering it back at the low of the day, they'll actually buy it all back at once and flip the market and then go to really heavy buying. And if you want to know how these things are done, there is an art and a science to making a short squeeze. But you've got to have plenty of suckers there to start the thing. And it may just be one big guy on Wall Street. It may be a ton of people on that. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com. Educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And what do we have here? A big break on DocuSign today as it went below 3x3 or 9-day moving average, either one. Let's go to displaced moving averages. I actually like the 3x3 better just because it gives you kind of a trend line. My guess is that that 225 gap is probably going to get tested sooner rather than later. You've got a good high out here that probably is 290.23. A lot of what's going on here is because people can't meet in person. So DocuSign was a company, even when it went public. The thing I liked, I never could get a good technical pattern on it. It just seemed to go higher. I love the fundamental part of it when it IPO'd, and we talked about it with Tom O'Brien, along with a handful of others. I should have just bought and forgot the technicals at the point, but we did play it, did make some money over time. Would have been better holding it, but again, every time you turned around on this one, the technicals were telling you just the opposite of what it was going to do in the early days anyway. But so a tough one to trade, a good one to hold. If you could get that 238 area, that probably would be pretty decent. Your trading range is up to 263. And of course, if anything bad happens, the better. I think this one actually took a break when a lot of reports started coming out of how well the current vaccines were working on the UK virus, the coronavirus variant, and some of the others. They were still 80% effective is what I believe I saw. I'll have to go back and read it again tonight. But I think there was kind of a few things like that going on this morning. But one of the reasons, and over the weekend, and one of the reasons DocuSign probably a little bit weaker out there, is going to trade kind of inverse to good news on the virus front, as more people will be able to actually go in person and sign. But it's probably fundamentally changed the way that a lot of people do business online. It's now accepted. But 290.23 is probably as good as it gets for probably a couple of years. My guess is you could see a fairly nice pullback eventually to the 185 level, 187 level where you have two before. Creating confusion among the crowd. Who would do things like that on Wall Street? You're swimming with the sharks, gentlemen. You're swimming with the sharks and ladies. Short interest on GM is over 100%. Yeah, we talked about naked short selling, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? And how tough that is, but if you're in on it, you'll probably naked short sell somebody if you know you can squeeze them out in a couple of days. And of course, any fine's going to be rather minimal toward whoever engineered this, if they ever catch them, right? It'll be line up the usual suspects. And sir, here's your warnings. Oh, not mine. Thoughts on the VIX and the VXX. Just take a quick look at here. Find out. Generally when I start looking at the VIX, the first thing I look at is UVXY, because that's going to compound the change in what's going on out there. It's holding fairly good for a 10.25 low today, $10.91 right now for the 11.49 high. My guess is that you're going to probably see this pull back a little bit. I think this thing's getting ready to split, reverse split anyway, as it normally will last about a year going sideways before it goes to nothing, because there's a fairly heavy decay in the thing. But you know what? We got the action. Now you're probably not going to see a whole lot of action until we actually hit earnings tonight and tomorrow. Let's actually talk about that today also. So this morning before the bell, we really didn't have anything of import. But after the bell tonight, we've got Xilinx, Steel Dynamics, Graco. There's nothing that's going to move the market except Xilinx in the semi space. Now tomorrow morning we get J&J, 3M, General Electric, Lockheed Martin, Verizon Communications, Raytheon Technologies, American Express, D.H. Horton, Prologix, Freeport McMoran. Let's take a look at that, FCX. The market's not allowed to go down until it goes down. This one's very interesting because it has broken and broken lower going into earnings tomorrow morning. But you'd really kind of hit some kind of saturation level. Now, one of the other things going on, which I didn't have a chance to talk about so far, is the incredibly huge change in shipping charges. I don't know if many people talked about it or saw it over the weekend, but the shipping containers, a lot of people have been using them to store stuff in, and they've been buying up or renting them. And now there's a big shortage of containers. In some spots in China, they're asking 300% higher rates to ship if they let you use their container just because they aren't around anywhere at all. I think this is probably a good prelude to saying that there is going to be problems with the economy, and it's going to be in the shipping part of it over the next 3 to 4 weeks as they work out all the shipping container issues. But maybe someone will have a chance to Google that during the break. But 50%, 100%, 300% moves higher depending on where you're at over in the Orient right now, and how tough is it to actually get a shipping container to throw on a ship to ship somewhere else out of China, Hong Kong, and ports there around. Anyway, we've got 50 seconds, so we want to look at GME follow-up. What's the difference going on with Wall Street bets and those bastards, the hedge funds destroying the retail investor and analysts downgrading a stock so the firm can buy it cheaper? Yay for the redcoats. Well, like I said, just know, and that's why I tell everybody the absolute first book that you should ever read as a trader is Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, because it tells you what's going on behind the background. It allows you to understand what's happening. And you know what? It's like complaining about the weather. Do it a lot. Don't change anything. Just have to pick your battles where it's going to happen. And stay away or join in, but know how these things work before you get involved. We'll be back in a minute.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as,
whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archived workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and a Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, along with specific recommendations, including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And somebody asked me if I found anybody that made those containers that was public. And I know I looked earlier this morning seeing if I could actually find any trades in those. But maybe there's some, but I didn't see any. Googled, DuckDuckGo'd it, other stuff. Speaking about Google, last couple of minutes, man, are they in the crosshairs across the world? Interesting moves on them. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Okay, 1881 right now, down $20, not a whole lot. But there's big stuff going on in Google. They lost a bid to tell France to go pound salt on giving money to the newspapers and other people they link to, even if they just take the headline in the first paragraph, which they've been doing for free since really mid-90s. So Google finally said okay, mostly because if they lost to France, then France would probably bar them in most of Europe and the UK. Right now, Google is going through a war to basically try to overthrow the government in Australia, hoping that they can push them around. Google's saying that they will just leave and all your Android phones will just go to nothing. That may be a big push for Apple. My guess is that that will not happen. If Google left, then they probably just use the Chinese App Store for a while on those phones. But they're acting more like all those movies you saw about the robber barons of the early 1900s. But we continue to face a lot of headwinds, and everybody kind of whistling past the graveyard. So when you can, not when you have to. We will be back tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.